Peanut butter milk. Both come in handy 16-ounce, easy-to-carry sizes. Well, when the kids come home, give them these great flavored milks from your farmer-owned dairy, Prairie Farms Dairy. They're in your grocery or convenience store dairy case.
This is Staff Meteorologist Paul Trombley with your regional radio forecast. Lows around 43 tonight under clear skies, winds out of the northwest, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Bright sunshine again tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 62. Lows around 45 tomorrow night, mainly clear. Low 70s Monday, upper 70s Tuesday. Get weather anytime by calling 824-6101 or online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Right now, 64.
Hello, everyone. Leroy Clamola here with you. Hope you're doing all right. The Chicago Blackhawks getting ready for their home opener tonight against the Las Vegas Knights, but we're not here to talk about that. It's myself, Leroy Clamola, alongside my partner, Jacob Thome, and Jacob, who is the Central A&M football broadcaster. And, of course, myself, I am the Taylorville Tornado broadcaster, along with my partner, Tim Zalabak. And we had some good games last night, and we are getting ready for 8 p.m. this evening, where they're going to announce the teams that are going to make the playoffs. Jacob, glad to have you with me, my friend. How are you this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. It's Selection Saturday, if you want to call it that, or not. Just waiting on the kind of what's going to happen here. Really excited for all the guests that are going to come join us later, and really excited just going on.
We do have some very, very exciting guests that are going to be joining us this evening. Coach Duckett from Shelbyville's had a fantastic season. Pena, who sits at 6-3, they're going to be a playoff team as well. And Taylorville breaks their little 3-year streak of not making the playoffs. No, they made the playoffs in 2020. They missed in 2021. They missed in 2022. They're looking to be back here this year in 2023 as they picked up a 35-9 victory over Civic Memorial out of Bethalto yesterday. Civic Memorial played a little bit tough, but Taylorville came through on top. Brandon Bible, Hunter Financial players of the game, as the entire offensive line got the award yesterday. And of course, our hearts and our thoughts and prayers go out to Judd Bates and his family. Judd Bates' dad, a senior for Taylorville, passed away this week. And my goodness, I can't imagine the pain that those guys are going through. But picking up a win on Friday was obviously a big thing and a big emotional moment for them. And our thoughts and prayers go out to Judd Bates and his family during this time. But a big win last night, 35-9. Jacob, I understand you guys had a pretty big win in your game as well in Central A&M.
Yeah, huge win. I mean, going back to it, they've had so many devastating losses. So it was nice to see a one-score game go in our favor for once on a last-second touchdown is what they wanted off of the hands of the freshman quarterback. Emmett Stinger threw that one to Maddox playing for the touchdown. Senior night for the Raiders last night. A ton of seniors made an awesome impact. Going to be tough to see that pretty large senior class move on to the next level, but excited for the future of Central A&M. And, yeah, they finished at 4-5 on the year.
And with that, finishing 4-5, Central A&M will miss the playoffs this year, but we'll still be watching them this next year to see how they do. It's obviously a little bit of a down year for a team that historically has made the playoffs multiple years in a row. And Jacob, just horrible timing on your part. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's just one of those things where they go through cycles, and this was one of those years where they didn't. But again, we got a great show coming up for you guys, and we're excited to be talking to our guests. But let's break down some stuff here really quick. We do have some time. Again, they are not set to make the announcements this evening for the games until closer to 8 o'clock. And that is going to be how that is going to go. I had the whole thing printed up here, and now I can't, like the actual timings for what time they're going to be revealing all of that stuff. There we go.
Yeah, it starts with the bigger teams.
Yeah, 1A,
unfortunately,
1A,
works the other way against us. But excited to see kind of those matchups. We know that Taylorville is in. Every single 5-win team did make the playoffs this year. There was a few 4-win teams, none in the area, but all 5-win teams made it in. So we know Taylorville is going to make it in. Just don't know quite yet who they're going to end up playing.
Correct. And with those predictions and with all of that, there's two teams that we've been kind of keeping an eye on. It doesn't necessarily mean that we'll play them. Obviously, stranger things can happen. But Murfreesboro sits at 8-1. They're down by Carbondale. And Rochester, a team that Taylorville is very familiar with from years of playing them. Rochester sits at 9-0. Those look like the teams that Taylorville will be facing. As far as some of the other teams, what do you have for Shelbyville and Pana, Jacob, as far as potential matchups for those two teams?
So Shelbyville, unfortunately, took a loss last night to Nashville, so that knocked them down to the 2 seed in their 2A bracket. They're currently predicted to play Westland, as that'll be an interesting matchup. That'll be at home in Shelbyville. And then speaking of Nashville, that is who Pana is going to get matched up with predicted wise. Obviously, none of this is final yet, but it's looking like Nashville is going to be the team that they match up with, which is a very good team. Nashville is a 3-loss team, but they are one heck of an impressive 3-loss team, as we just mentioned, knocked off what was undefeated Shelbyville last night. So really good matchups in the area as well. Also want to give a shout out to Nokomis. They made the playoffs this year. They're currently predicted to play Greenfield. Again, none of this is final yet. We'll have those updates as they come in. Nokomis will be, I believe, our first update, as I believe they are in the 1A bracket.
Yeah,
here.
so
yeah, 1A.
I found the pairings day timetable. I finally found it because that's what I was looking for. And the 1A will be about 8:03, 2A at 8:06, 3A at 8:12, and 4A at 8:15. We'll not be giving you all of the schools, as there's no point in really doing that, but we will be focusing heavily on 1A, and we'll be focusing heavy on 4A. Those will be the two classes that we really focus on here. So make sure you're sticking around here for at least the next hour as we get ready to talk. But don't forget, we'll be joined after we do the pairings. After we get the 4A pairings, we will be joined by Coach Jeb Odom. And we'll talk to him a little bit about his potential matchup, finishing up the season strong, and all of the great stuff that's going on with that. So, again, big win for Taylorville, who knocked off Civic Memorial last night in a game 35-9, in a game that Taylorville really controlled from the get-go. As far as the run game goes, and Baron Odom at quarterback really could do whatever he wanted there on offense, and was a spectacular force on defense. Him along with Gabriel Michaud. I found out I've been pronouncing his name wrong all season, so good job, Leroy. But Gabriel Michaud, who was also an absolute beast yesterday on defense. So we're excited for that. That's what's coming up here in just a little bit. In about 15 minutes or so, we will be talking to Coach Duckett, probably about 20 minutes or so. We'll be talking to Coach Duckett here a little bit and talk to him about his year with Shelbyville and some of the pluses and minuses of their season and what they have to look forward to with their playoff spot. But yeah, we're excited. Jacob, I know you're excited as well. Glad to have you all with us here for our Prairie Farms Pigskin playoff preview, because Randall J. Miller loves giving me those tongue twister names, and that's the big one that I got right there. So I was practicing at home this afternoon to make sure that I could get that all spelled correctly and get it all pronounced correctly. But that's how things are going to go. Again, when we look at these teams and we look at the conferences, it's kind of interesting because the Apollo Conference, especially the Apollo Conference, almost everybody made it. Muhammad, who won the conference, sits on top 5-0, 7-2 overall. Mount Zion, Charleston also get conference bids. Then Effingham and Taylorville get the at-large bids at 5-4. Effingham pulling off a big win last night, and talking to Taylorville players, it seemed like they wanted Effingham to win. So that was a big win for Taylorville as well to have Effingham win. Taking a look at the other important conferences, Central Illinois Conference, which has both Shelbyville and Moequa Central A&M. Shelbyville still won the conference. They finished the season 5-0 in conference, 8-1 overall. They outscored their opponents, Jacob, 342-157. Pretty darn good for that Shelbyville team. Clinton and Tuscola. Clinton, of course, broadcast by our sister stations up north. I think Jared does Clinton. Jared White does Clinton. They finished 4-1 in the conference, 6-3 overall. So they're going to be a force in the playoffs as well. And of course, taking a look over at the Central State 8 just briefly. And the only reason I do that is Lincoln. Lincoln has not made the playoffs since I was a little boy. but they look to be close to getting into the playoffs this year. They sit 4-4 in conference, 5-4 overall, and of course Rochester winning that conference, 8-0 in conference, 9-0 overall. They've outscored their opponents 474 to 83. Rochester is an absolute force. And
looking offensively, I mean, 473 points scored is quite the amount scored on that one. I mean, just looking at their offense in total, they have a really good running game. They're averaging currently 229 yards per game on the ground, and then they have one of the best quarterbacks in the area as well to go along with it. Rochester is a force to be reckoned with, and potentially that could be the first round matchup for Taylorville.
Murfreesboro is the other team that has been talked about. Taylorville potentially playing. Murfreesboro sits 4-0 in conference, 8-1 overall. They've outscored their opponents 363 to 102, and that's not taking anything away from Taylorville. Taylorville, of course, having a pretty decent season, all things considered. Although they have been outscored by opponents 235 to 179. Again, Mattoon, the only Apollo Conference team not to make it into the playoffs from the Apollo. So those are the big things that we're watching. Nokomis finishing 5-4 in conference, 5-4 overall. They outscored their opponents 270 to 182. They will get an at-large bid over in the Lincoln Prairie Conference. Arthur A. Lovington, Atwood Hammond picking up the conference win over Sullivan. Sullivan also broadcast by our sister station. I think Seth Lawrence does. Sullivan, they're 8-1 overall and 8-1 in conference. So some really good teams in our area that are kicking butt and taking names. And it'll be interesting to see who these guys get matched up with here as we get closer to the playoffs and we get closer to those announcements that will be coming in just a little bit later on this evening. Jacob, any thoughts on what you're excited for tonight?
Well, I mean, obviously Taylorville's matchup making the playoffs for the first time in 2 years going to be interesting to see if we get Rochester, because I think that's a matchup that, it's nice having a team so close that they can match up against. Obviously, huge rivalry up there, and we'll see if, obviously the home crowd will be infiltrated with some Taylorville folks as well. So excited to see who Taylorville matches up with, as long as everybody else being matched up in the area. Really excited to see how those teams go along.
And longtime Taylorville people who watch football know the history between Taylorville and Rochester, two teams that face each other in the playoffs quite often. Rochester coming out on top more than Taylorville would like to admit, but Taylorville hoping to fix those odds here this year in what would be a potential uphill battle for them. Of course, I'm a Northwestern fan. All my battles are uphill anyway. So, yes. But we are excited to have all of that coming up here in just a little bit. I hope you are as well. Again, if you're just joining us, we're going to recap here. You are listening to the Prairie Farms Pigskin Playoff Preview. My name is Leroy Clemola. Joining me is Jacob Thome. We are streaming live on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. You can see us. Hey, what's going on? Hello, as we wave to the camera. And we're excited to be bringing you all kinds of great stuff this evening. Pairings will be from 8 to about 8:30 this evening. We'll be having all the pairings for you, but we'll also be talking to some special guests here this evening as well. Coach Duckett from Shelbyville, who we will be talking to here in about 10 minutes or so. Trevor Higgins, Coach Higgins from Pana having a great year as well. And, of course, Taylorville coach Jeb Odom at the bottom around 8:30 to 8:40. We'll be talking to Coach Jeb Odom before we do our recap of all of the events here. So we'll be here until 9 p.m. this evening. Plenty of great stuff coming up. Plenty of great things to be talking about. And I know we're all pretty excited for what's going on. And again, coming off of big wins last night, even Central A&M coming off a big win. Shelbyville did not win. They picked up a loss last night, but that's still not an issue for them as they still secured a decent spot in the playoffs. And Shelbyville, they have a really good football team.
Yes, they do. They're a fantastic quarterback in Brody Bamman. He's just able to throw the ball wherever he wants. And that's going to be something that is going to be very useful as the playoffs go on, especially as they look to have home field advantage for most of the playoffs. At least that's what they'll look for if the bracket plays out. So really excited for them and see what, obviously our sister stations will have all of that action coming up for you as the weeks go on. But in that 2A, they were definitely a team to be messed with. Just looking forward and how tough of an opponent and matchup that they are.
Connor Bedard just scored a goal, so yeah, there you go. All right, we are doing multiple things here this evening, and we are proud of it. So we are excited to be bringing you all of those matchups here this evening. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have much more from the Prairie Farms Pigskin playoff preview as we continue to do some great things here this evening. And those matchups coming up here in less than an hour. In less than an hour, we will know who Taylorville, who Shelbyville, who Pana will be facing here in just a little bit. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
The fall season is a great time to enjoy farmer-owned Prairie Farms dairy products. Throw some baked potatoes on the grill and bring out the taste with Prairie Farms sour cream. Cut up your favorite vegetables and dip them in Prairie Farms French onion or ranch dip and make those veggie flavors come out even more. And Prairie Farms small curd, large curd, low-fat, and fat-free cottage cheese provides great nutrition as a side dish or salad. Enjoy fall with these farmer-owned Prairie Farms dairy products in your grocer or C-store dairy case.
If you're like most people, finding extra money for your savings just doesn't happen. Hi, this is Jeff Grimmett at People's Bank and Trust, and we have the solution you've been looking for. Sign up for our Save by Spending Roundup program, and we'll round up your purchases to the next dollar, then transfer that change to your savings account. It's as easy as shop, enjoy, and save. Start saving for the things you really want with our Save by Spending Roundup program. Call 888-PBT-1954 and let us put you and your savings first. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You are not called upon to make funeral arrangements very often. When you are, you want to turn to somebody you trust. This is Mike Masterson with Masterson Funeral Home and Cremation Services, Kincaid. Through the years, we have grown to know the people in our area. Our family has established a reputation for providing beautiful, dignified services. We have provided 3 generations of experience, compassion, and a long-lasting tradition of community service. Let our family serve your family. Masterson Funeral Home and Cremation Services, Kincaid.
Greatness doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, focus, and dedication. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that because we put in the hard work and dedication for decades. And that commitment is paid off with award-winning customer service for your auto, home, and life insurance.
See me, Harold Phillips, your Shelter Insurance agent on the east side of the Taylorville Square, or click my icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
This is Megan Lopez with Nesty's Burger Joint on the south side of the Taylorville Square. To see our menu, click on our icon on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
This is Shawla's Nagel, Executive Director at Kimmer Village in Assumption. To learn more about our services, click on our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
This is Staff Meteorologist Paul Trombley with your regional radio forecast. Lows around 43 tonight under clear skies, winds out of the northwest, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Bright sunshine again tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 62. Lows around 45 tomorrow night, mainly clear. Low 70s Monday, upper 70s Tuesday. Get weather anytime by calling 824-6101 or online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Right now, 64.
Welcome back to the Prairie Farms, WTIM Prairie Farms Pigskin Playoff Preview. Leroy Clamola here alongside Jacob Thome. Glad to have you with us this evening on this Saturday night as we get ready. We got all kinds of great things going on this evening, all kinds of fantastic things. We've got hockey in one studio, we've got football in the other. We're everywhere. We've got all things covered. So great to be here and covering all of these great events that are taking place. Jacob, you are new to the area. We got you right before the summer started. So this was your first football season here in Central A&M. Tell us a little bit about some of the great things that you saw this season.
Central Illinois football is fun. I mean, just last night, especially for Central A&M, I think we saw a lot of kind of what Central Illinois football is all about. They just ran it down Illini West's throat all night. Combination of Gabe Delmendo and Evan Pearsall been doing it all year long. Just saw, I mean, it was amazing. Just saw Central Illinois football is a lot different than football up north a little bit. So really awesome to see just how everything comes together, how different the football is. But yes, it was a bunch of fun.
And for those who don't know, talk a little bit about those differences. What are some of the things that you notice are differences between the way that they play football, maybe in Chicago as opposed to how they play it down here?
Yeah, upstate. I mean, near Chicago, I think you have more perimeter playmakers, so you're able to throw the ball a little bit more. With bigger not draft classes, but bigger classes, you're able to, you get a little bit better athletes, better quarterbacks. So you're able to air it out a little bit more. But down here, you really, especially Central A&M's case, just talking about them for a little bit, even like Nokomis, you want to talk about them, you only have a select few guys who can play, and it really favors the run game. So you see a lot of just run it down their throats. I mean, Central A&M did have a lot of spread offense, especially when Damery was in there, but man, some of these teams we faced, it was just wing tee and stuff like that, just down their throats, and it was a bunch of fun to watch.
And with that, when you look at these teams, you look at these smaller teams, especially a lot of these teams that have to play both offense and defense, sometimes it can become who outlasts who. We've seen some fourth quarters where things kind of really start to break down a little bit as teams start to get tired and as teams start to struggle, and a lot of times it can really become one of those things where who outlasts who. Would you agree?
Yeah, interesting enough. Last night we were watching the onside kick that Illini West attempted at the end of the game, just trying to kind of drain out the clock. And Emmett Stinger was the one who copped on the ball, and then he was the quarterback for the drive. So it's kind of a weird situation where your quarterback's playing hands team, or you have guys, every offensive lineman normally plays defensive line. So, it adds another dynamic to football, which just makes it as more fun as possible, more strategy. And, it's awesome to watch and just as it goes on.
Well, and as I said, Baron Odom had a lot of great plays on defense. In fact, if he wasn't quarterback, he probably solidified a role on the team simply from his defensive prowess that he was able to pull on the field. I know I got plenty of compliments from Civic Memorial about Clark Rare, who is one of our wide receivers, and all the hard work that he does and just how explosive and how quick he is. And it's really, really great to go to these places and get these compliments from some of these other teams that may not see these players all the time and who may not know about what's going on. So oftentimes, especially when you go to away games, it's kind of great to be able to soak up that environment, be able to see some of the cool stuff that's going on with that. All right. So we got plenty of time still. I know Shelbyville is going to be joining us here in just a little bit, probably about 5 minutes or so. We'll be getting Shelbyville on, and we'll be talking to Coach Duckett a little bit about what they had this season. And because of that, let's go ahead and break down Shelbyville's season. Shelbyville finished the year 5-0, 8-1 in conference. And they had a great season. They picked up wins over Newton, Eureka, St. Louis, Missouri, Roosevelt, Carnahan, Tuscola, Warrensburg, Latham, Macon, Meridian. They beat Central A&M. They beat you guys in Moequa. Then they picked up a win against Clinton before losing to Nashville. No, not Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Illinois, 54-20 last night. But this is a team that's very dangerous. They're led by their great quarterback play, and they're a team that really, even last year, were pretty good at football.
Yeah, they're one of the more physical teams that we faced all season, just coming from a Central A&M point of view. And it was closer than it looked because of kind of the weather and looking like that. But they're a very physical team. Their quarterback play is fantastic. I want to make sure I get the name right because it's Brody and Brady Bohm. Brody is the quarterback. Brady is a wide receiver. Both of them are fantastic. But really just looking at the quarterback play from Brody Bohm, he's been Bohm. Yeah. Brody Bohm, I mean, he's just been fantastic. He tore up Central A&M as the game went on. He was able to connect on the deep shots, and that's going to be an extra layer for Shelbyville, being able to stretch the field with fantastic quarterback play, and then they have a great running back as well to slide under that. And then physical defense is what they're all about. They punish people up front, and they make you throw because you can't run, and that makes it really difficult to beat them.
And we saw a lot of these guys play on the baseball team as well. We know how dangerous of a baseball team Shelbyville was, but it was very cool to be able to see them on the football field as well.
Yeah, it's always fun when you're able to see guys that, you remember either because all these guys normally play 3 sports. So it's awesome to kind of recognize last names and stuff like that, especially as you kind of go through it all. I mean, Gavin Houchins was a fantastic pitcher for Central A&M, and now he's the starting receiver for the football team. So, that adds another thing into it where you kind of, if you're a good athlete, you're going to play all 3 sports. So just fun to watch as, the year goes on.
I joke that I've been here now for 4 years, so that makes me a senior in high school, right? Like that's how this works, correct?
I would assume so, right? I mean, just 4 years. Yeah, you would look at it.
Yes. Jacob Thumb joining me this evening. My name is Leroy Clamola. I want to thank Prairie Farms for all their coverage for our WTIM Prairie Farms Pigskin Playoff Preview. And again, I know we've been saying it over and over again, but we will be doing the information that everybody's been waiting for will be released between 8:03 and 8:18. Actually, it'll be the whole show is going to go from about 8:03 until about 8:40. We've been on the air starting at 7. We'll be here till 9 o'clock. But the big classes that we are focusing on are 1A and 4A. Those are the big classes that we're going to be focusing our attention on. 1A is going to be at 8:03 p.m. They're going to announce those right away, so we'll know pretty quickly who Shelbyville is facing and who Pana is facing. And then Class 4A, which will be about 8:15. We'll be getting you some other things because we are watching some other schools in the area. Effingham, Mount Zion. We're looking at Lincoln. See if Lincoln can make the playoffs for the first time since I was a little kid. We'll be also looking at some other schools as well in the area. Nokomis, Tuscola, some of the other schools, and see how they do as well. So we're pretty excited to be bringing you all of that here in just a little bit. Again, as we get through here. But tough season for Central A&M. What was your favorite game that you called this year?
Last night, for sure. Walk-off touchdown, pretty much 14.3 seconds. And Central A&M had such a weird season just going through it, looking at kind of, tough, devastating losses, just back to back to back, just looking through it.
You guys had that loss to Leroy, then picked up a big win at home against Marshall. Talk about the Central A&M crowd. We talked at the beginning of the season before football even started. I told you, I said, there's nothing like a crowd in Moequa. And I don't know if you necessarily believed me. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But talk about that environment, what that environment means to you.
Well, Central A&M came into last night. They had nothing to play for. It was senior night, of course, so some fans were there for that. But that felt like a playoff game. That was a bunch of fun to be there. The atmosphere that was there was absolutely fantastic. So you want to give a huge shout out to everybody that was at the game last night or anybody listening live on WMKR sister station. And just as you mentioned, just the fire trucks were there last night. That's something that you just don't see a lot. And everybody's showing up. It's an awesome atmosphere. And you get that a lot with Central Illinois high school football. And it's awesome to see, just really brings the community together. That's why we all love it.
Yeah, it really, really is. And it's one of those things where when you look at this and you look at the matchups that these schools have, some of these teams get to know each other really, really well. You talk about conference games such as Clinton, Tuscola, Warrensburg, Shelbyville, Macon, and these teams, they know each other. They know each other in and out, what they like, what they don't like, and you get to see some really, really good football, whether it's in the Central State 8, whether it's in the Apollo Conference, whether it's up in Chicago. A lot of these conference games can really, really get pretty exciting. So pretty awesome. All right, we're going to take one more break. When we come back, we'll be talking to Coach Duckett from Shelbyville, hopefully, and we'll be talking to him. It's a live show, so we'll do our best to see what we can do about getting people on the air and talk to them. But we'll be having all that coverage here in just a little bit. Talk to Coach Duckett from Shelbyville and see what he's excited about when it comes to the 2023 playoffs. You're listening to WTIM Prairie Farms Pigskin Playoff Preview.
That feeling is in the air. It's getting cooler. The leaves are falling. It's fall. And that means bonfires, get-togethers, and farmer-owned Prairie Farms dairy products. Prairie Farms cottage cheese is a great salad or side dish. Dip your favorite vegetable into Prairie Farms lineup of dips, including French onion and ranch to make that taste pop. And Prairie Farms sour cream goes great on that baked potato you just took off the grill. Enjoy the fall season with these Prairie Farms dairy products in your grocery or convenience store dairy case. WTIM on its many platforms, AM, FM, and online brings you Taylorville Tornado football, boys and girls basketball, and playoff games of all teams. Tornado Sports on WTIM and stream live on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Are brought to you by Curvy Real Estate, the Christian County YMCA, Brad Davis, your Edward Jones financial advisor, and Landmark, all in Taylorville.
The purple and gold are coming your way. The Taylorville Tornadoes are going to do it today.
The Shelby County Economic Development Corporation aims to foster, promote, and stimulate economic development, from keeping existing industry and retail businesses successful and thriving to attracting new investment in Shelby County. The Shelby County Economic Development Corporation is here to help your business grow. It also sponsors job fairs to fill positions at existing employers and encourages future entrepreneurs in the Shelby County CEO program. Find out more on the Shelby County Economic Development Corporation by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Hi, this is Jared White, host of Central Illinois Outdoors, inviting you to find us on the internet. We are up and running at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. You can jump on there to find our Catch of the Week segment. Also, our archive shows. After they air on the weekend, you can find them every Monday at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. So listen when you can. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search Central Illinois Outdoors. Central Illinois Outdoors on Facebook or at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. We'll see you there.
Computer Techniques, also known as CTI, is bringing fiber internet to local homes and businesses. For lag-free internet with speeds up to 1 gig, find out more by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
I'm Jeff Likes with Westervelt Mutual Insurance Company. We know what service means and have for over 100 years. Whether an existing or potential customer, learn what local service means. Find an agent near you by clicking the Westervelt Mutual icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Paul Trombley with your regional radio forecast. Lows around 43 tonight under clear skies, northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lots of sunshine outside again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 62. Mainly clear skies tomorrow night. Lows level off around 45. Low 70s Monday, upper 70s Tuesday. Get weather anytime by calling 824-6101 or online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Right now, 62.
Leroy Clamola here alongside. We need to get some intro music. That's what I realized that we don't have. We need to get some like Wait, is that copyrighted? Can I do that? I don't know. I just like
sing
like,
it's all
like
right.
4 seconds, right?
Yeah, I think you have up to 4 seconds, and as long as you don't play the actual bet, I think you're good. If you want to start freestyling some music, yeah, as we come in. Leroy might get viewers to turn off.
Leroy Clamola here with Jacob Thome. Tim just messaged the page, said a couple of fantastic gentlemen in the studio for us today, folks. Thanks for the coverage. You're too kind. Thank you so much. You should be here, right? That's a whole nother discussion in itself. But no, I'm just kidding. But we are excited. We'll be joining Coach Duckett here from Shelbyville in just a little bit. Jacob, what matchups are potential for the Shelbyville Rams?
Yeah, it really looks like they're kind of locked into Trenton Westland. Again, this is just a projection, but everybody that I'm viewing has them matching up against Trenton Westland, coming from, I guess, Westland in general, but school located in Trenton. They went 5-4 on the year, picked up wins over Marshall, Clayton in St. Louis, Dupo, El Dorado, as well as one last night to get in against Madison. So it'll be interesting to see what they do when they get in here. Obviously, Marshall's a common opponent for us, as Central A&M played them a non-conference earlier in the year. So that's kind of something that I noticed. They also played Nashville quite well, and Nashville's a really good team that Shelbyville lost to. So interesting to see that maybe if Nashville and Trent play the same style of ball, maybe that can give Shelbyville a little bit of trouble.
Yeah. Very interesting, especially because when you think about some of these matchups, and it's not necessarily who you're playing, it's who your opponents have played and whether they played them at the beginning of the season or at the end. I would imagine if I talked to Coach Odom right now and I said, is your team that's playing now the same team that played at the beginning of the season? I'm sure I would get a very, very descriptive answer about how they are not the same team as what they were at the beginning of the season. So be interesting to see if they did, if they played all these teams again, what the results would be, and whether or not some of these teams would do a little bit better the second time through, or if they might do even a little bit worse the second time through. But we are looking forward to that, seeing who they play, and let's go ahead and see if we can't try to get Coach Duckett on the phone here. And while I'm trying to do that, if you want to pull up and talk a little bit about grab Shelbyville's schedule there. And pull up and talk a little bit about those scores really, really quick. And while I try to get Coach Duckett on the phone.
Yeah, as we look through Shelbyville's schedule here, obviously playing in the Central Illinois Conference, which is kind of an interesting conference, as the conference will be no longer active next year as just for footballs. They combine with the Heart of Illinois Conference, but picked up some big wins in non-conference against Newton, Eureka, and Roosevelt in St. Louis. And then they swept the conference, went undefeated in conference against Tuscola, Warrensburg, Latham, Meridian, Central A&M, and Clinton, and lost last night.
Hello.
Hello, is Coach Suckett there?
Yes, this is.
Hey, Coach Suckett, this is Leroy Clamola over at the Prairie Farms Pigskin Playoff Preview. How you doing tonight, Coach?
Great. How are you?
Good. Saturday night, you ain't got nothing going on tonight, do you?
Nah, not too much.
A tough loss last night, but overall, how did you like your season this year?
Yeah, it was a good season. These guys have worked really hard, to get to this point, and have prepared really well and fought hard. And we just ran into a really good team last night. Nashville's a great team, and we've got to move past that and get better for next week.
And looking ahead at next week, you guys projected to probably be a number 2 seed. If I would have told you at the beginning of the season that you're going to be a number 2 seed, what would your reaction have been?
We would have been hoping for something like that. We were I think a 3 seed last year. We knew we had a lot of guys coming back and had some high expectations. So, you're always going to be happy being one of those upper seeds like that. So, we're excited for where we're at right now.
I was going to talk to all the coaches tonight and ask, and I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here. But what was your favorite moment of the year this year?
Probably the last week's game against Clinton. They were a tough team, and it was a conference championship game. And for us, we haven't won conference for it was like 30 years up till last week. So that was a pretty cool experience for our kids and community.
And with that, and with winning the conference, what does that? How supportive has the community been towards that goal and towards your team as a whole?
Oh, it's been awesome. We've had a ton of community support. I mean, they come out to the games, and it's an exciting atmosphere. Shooting fireworks off, and it helps our players just see that excitement that's built around them. And it's been like that, the last few years for sure. But it always just adds to a Friday night that you look at and you see in the movies, and you get that feel when you go out there every Friday night. And it's a cool experience for our kids.
Without getting too much into the weeds on this one, how do you prep for some of these teams that maybe you don't see too often, or prep for a playoff game like this?
Yeah, I think this year's been kind of a good for us in that aspect, because we did play 4 teams that we had never played really before. We played Newton and Eureka, and a team out of St. Louis and Nashville. So we've had some experience going against new opponents that aren't ones we traditionally play, and so they've had a little bit of that playoff feel to it. Even like last night, going down to Nashville, it's a 2-hour drive far away, somebody you haven't seen, and it's good preparation, I think, for these guys.
All right, Jacob Thome is with us in the studios here as well. He's got a couple questions for you. Jacob, go ahead.
Yeah, Brody Bohm, your starting quarterback. What has it been like to see him progress as the season has gone long, especially as a senior quarterback comes into this one?
Yeah, he from last year, he was fantastic last year for us, and he's developed even more. We had Turner Pullen, who's a former quarterback that played at McKendree for the last few years, came back and helped him, and it really helped to kind of develop his game a little bit more. And he's a great leader. He on and off the field, he's our guy that when it comes to weight room and off season stuff, he's leading the way, and that really helps our younger guys to see an upperclassman that's putting in that kind of work. And he's a great kid. But we talk about him at quarterback all the time, but he might be as good or better as a free safety. He's really good on defense as well, and so you get a guy that's kind of leader on both sides of the ball there.
Yeah, and his brother as well plays wide receiver. Yeah. What is it like having those two in the connection that they've had obviously forever?
Yeah, his brother Brady's our middle linebacker and plays some receiver, tight end, fullback, and he's another real big kid. But they're just the leadership of both of them is phenomenal. And when you have a connection like that with two brothers, especially twins, it's kind of a cool thing. And just to have them for 4 straight years and see them develop and grow and be good leaders for us has been special to have. And especially our younger kids seeing that and the time that those guys have put in, and and just the hard work that it takes to get to this point. Hopefully they've been good mentors for the younger guys to develop and improve in the next few years for us.
And with that, Coach, what can you say about this senior class and what they've been through over the last 4 years? I know it's been some days obviously easier than others, but what can you say as a whole towards these seniors and what you've seen as far as them grow throughout the 4 years that you've seen them play?
Yeah, this is probably one of the best groups of seniors or just single groups that we've had come through. From the time they were freshmen. That was that spring season that we had, and we had quite a few of them, 5 or 6 that were getting some decent varsity time. So even as freshmen, they were making a contribution at the varsity level. And by the time they were sophomores, we probably had 6 of them that were starting for us on either side of the ball. So they've been contributing for several years now, and that's helped to just get that growth as a whole group to the point they are now. And they went into last year and got that early exit in the playoffs, and I think that's kind of fueled the fire for them to try to improve and take a step further going into this season.
Taking a look at your underclassmen, who were some guys that really stood out to you this season, and what are you looking forward to next year?
Yeah, underclassmen wise, most of our receivers, 3 out of the 4 starters are juniors, and then 2 of the guys kind of step in after that. So we've got a lot of receivers, skill guys, and all of our DBs, those same guys that are going to be coming back. But Jack Yokish has been done a great job receiver and DB. He's a big, strong kid, really good basketball player, and he goes up and high points the ball really well. I don't know what he's got yardage wise, but it's got to be pretty high up for Central Illinois in terms of number of yards, touchdowns. He's a strong kid. Landon Wallace, running back. We kind of split carries between him and one of our seniors, Caden Chastain, but Landon Wallace has done a great job, had multiple 100-yard games this year. So he's been exciting. Andre Townsend's been our starting center from last year and this year. He's a junior, does a real good job, rotates in on D-line. So we got a few of those underclassmen that they're developing right now, and hopefully will provide some big help for us in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, excited to see your guys' journey here, not only this week, but hopefully moving through the playoffs and hopefully the state. Coach Duckett, any final thoughts here before we let you go about maybe this season or about anything you're looking forward to?
I think it's just exciting to have a chance to get a little redemption from that early exit last year, and hopefully we can keep improving and get a few more weeks in.
All right, Coach Duckett. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to us today. Greatly appreciated.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, good luck in the playoffs, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Duckett taking a couple minutes to talk to us today. We always appreciate it, not just Coach Duckett, but all the coaches that will be talking with us this evening. We greatly appreciate them, and he looks excited. And guess what? I think they've got a message that they're not going away after this year. I think this is a Shelbyville team that, they finished really strong last year. They're going to hopefully potentially finish strong this season, and they're saying, hey, we've got a couple more years left. We are a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, the combination of their senior leadership as well as their underclassmen that have really propelled them into this situation that they're in. And that's always great as a coach because, you have this season as well where they're going to shine, and that you also have the future of the team that's going to shine as well. So exciting for Shelbyville, what they've got going on under there, and fantastic coaching as well.
We are definitely excited for what Shelbyville has. And again, we'll have those matchups here around 8:03 here. So in about about 15 minutes or so, we'll have those matchups that we're so excited about. And actually between 8 o'clock and 8:30 is really when we're going to start to see a lot of these matchups start pouring in about who we're going to be playing, potential teams that may not, be facing the teams that they may want, or maybe they will. You never know. And we'll be seeing all that. Plus, don't forget, we'll be talking to Coach Trevor Higgins here in just a little bit. And actually, let's try calling Coach Higgins right now and seeing if we can't get a hold of him. Let's just give him a shot. See
what we got from Coach Higgins in Pana, making the playoffs once again, currently projected by some people that I've been seeing to play Nashville in the first round.
Hello.
Hello, Coach Higgins.
Yes.
Hey, it's Leroy Clamola from the Prairie Farms Pigskin Playoff Preview. How are you doing tonight, Coach?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Hey, congratulations. You guys are going to be making the playoffs this year. I know Pena's had some really, really good football teams over the last few years, but you got to be excited, looking forward to making the playoffs this year.
Every year it's exciting to be here, but it's something in our program that we just expect it. And so I told our kids I was proud of them where we're at right now, but, man, we can't be satisfied with where we're at. So anxious to see who we get first and then go from there.
And how do you guys, prep for some of these teams that maybe you don't see too often? How do you prep for a playoff game like this?
Obviously the film that they send you, lots and lots of hours on film, and sometimes calling other coaches that they've played and just asking them kind of their thoughts on the team. And other than that, then you just spend the whole week. You get an extra day if you play on a Saturday to prepare and just watch a ton of film and try to get the guys ready.
Coach Higgins, what can you say about your seniors this year and what they've done as far as helping out your football team?
Yeah, so our senior class started with 4. We were able to add a few there at the end, but small class and not a lot. We didn't have a lot of guys that played varsity ball last year, so we knew we were really young this year. Definitely had some growing pains. That's shown by our win-loss record right now. But man, the kids have fought through a bunch of adversity. They're battle tested. We've been in a lot of close games this year, and so just excited for them that they made the playoffs, and now hopefully we can make a deep run.
Since you guys have not had a ton of seniors that are on the team, clearly your underclassmen had to step up. What can you say about those underclassmen, and who are you excited to be maybe seeing not only in the playoffs but maybe next year?
Yeah, we got a ton of guys. I know offensively next year, we're going to lose 3 guys from our offense. And now those are 3 very important guys, but man, that means, you're getting 8 guys coming back. So really excited about some of the progress, especially some of our sophomores have made. And our juniors that have stepped up that didn't see any of the varsity games last year. And but like I said, for this year, just couldn't be more impressed with how our guys have fought through adversity, and a lot of times they could have folded, and instead they just kept their heads high and played as a team and battled out some wins that we had early on in the year against some of the top teams in our conference, Vandalia, Carlinville, and just kept rolling through the season. And excited for them, and now they're going to get their first taste of playoff football, and that's just a little bit different than season.
The way that these seasons match up is sometimes you get more away games than home games. But what can you say about the community support that you guys have had for this team this year?
Panther Nation shows out every year, every game, no matter if it's home or away. So I tell our kids, man, if there's a reason why we should put a ton of work and effort into this program, it's because Panther Nation deserves for us to make deep runs in the playoffs and deserves state championship games. So, we love playing in front of our crowd, and it doesn't matter where we go, we bring a ton of people with us. So, small town football, man, there's just nothing like it.
Jacob Thome is with us in the studio as well. He did a lot of the Central A&M games this year. But Jacob, what questions do you have for Coach Higgins?
Yeah, as the season goes on, obviously you mentioned the underclassmen. What is it like to see those guys get the playoff experience as this postseason goes on?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the beginning of the year as a staff, that we're going to go through some growing pains, and there's going to be some mistakes made that we usually don't have to deal with because we're not usually playing sophomores in the varsity level. And this year we definitely went through some of that, and it's been a roller coaster of a year coaching this year, and just trying to get these kids to understand the importance of each and every play and not taking plays off and taking care of the football, those types of things. And, just been really impressed with our younger guys. They've taken some of that coaching really well. And, playoff football is going to be the same thing. It's like a whole new season. And so, just going to try to help prepare them as much as possible, have our seniors kind of tell them about, playoff football and what it's like, and just hope that they can come out and ball out for us.
Yeah, 100%. If you look at the win last night, what kind of momentum does that allow you guys to carry into the playoffs?
Yeah, we needed that win, especially with Harbert, one of our studs out. to be able to win a game and do it without him, I think it gives us a lot of confidence because we rely on him heavily with our offense and defense. And so to have him out and to be able to pull off a win still, man, gives us a little confidence in where we're at. And then, now that we get him back this week, hopefully that'll just roll into our game next weekend.
All right, Coach, we have a couple moments left. Any final thoughts, anything you'd like our listeners to know maybe about Pana and about football, and anything you'd like to tell them?
No, I mean, Pana football just been around. It seems like we made the playoffs the last 14 out of the 15 years. So our program's rolling, and these kids are hungry, and just looking forward to this postseason and seeing what we can do.
Well, keep on kicking butt, Coach, and we're looking forward to seeing what you guys do in the playoffs this year.
All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Thanks so much for being on our show, and you have a great rest of your evening.
Yep, you too.
Coach Trevor Higgins taking a couple moments to talk to us today about what they have going on. Pana finishing 6-3 this year. They finished 10-2 last season. Of course, they had a couple playoff wins to add to that total. But this is a team that, even though they lost some pretty big pieces last year, still feels strong enough that they feel that they can make some noise in the playoffs.
Yeah, going through their roster, the amount of underclassmen they have is impressive. Being able to drag, for most teams, that means a down year. And for them, it made kind of an up year. 6-3 as they head into the postseason. They're going to have kind of that 8-9 matchup is where we project them. So they're going to have an evenly matched first round match. And we'll really get to see what they get to do, as well as not just this year, but the years to come.
All right, we have literally 1 minute left before we have to take a break. But don't forget to join us here in about 8 minutes. 8 minutes, we will have the start of our the whole reason that we're here. Playoff, Prairie Farms Pigskin playoffs. We'll have all of those games start trickling in. So we'll be able to tell you who Shelbyville will be facing, who Central A&M will be facing, and who some of these other games as well. And then later on, probably about 8:15, we'll have Class 4A. Again, 1A and 4A are the big classes that we'll be looking at. Nothing against these other classes, but those are the two big classes that we'll be focusing on here this evening, and we're excited to be bringing you all of that. Plus, don't forget, join us after at 8:30, sometime between 8:30 and 8:40, where we'll be calling out to Coach Jeb Odom, talking to him about his big win last night, and again, their matchup and potentially what they could be facing in maybe a team like Murphyboro, or Rochester. So we'll have all of that here in just a little bit for you, as you are listening to WTIM and the Prairie Farms Pigskin Playoff Preview. We'll have much more here in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it as this comes up here in just a moment.
Those looking to enjoy their golden years with financial freedom will need to understand proper saving tactics. Luckily, the state of Illinois is making that easy. At retirement, Social Security benefits will most likely not be enough to keep up with that person's regular spending, leading to a less overall spending that will come as a detriment to the economy. The Illinois State Treasurer, Mike Freericks, Illinois State Treasurer, are sending out the message to employees and employers that do not offer or have 401ks to enroll for the Illinois Safe Choice Alternative, the Illinois way to do 401ks. Freericks says that these funds will gather compounding interest from funds taken directly out of the worker's paycheck and into that savings account. For more information about the Safe Choice Alternative Saving Program, make sure to visit tax.illinois.gov. Illinois State Treasurer Mike Freericks appeared as a guest on the WTIM Morning Show.
This is staff meteorologist Paul Trombley with your regional radio forecast. Lows around 43 tonight under clear skies, northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lots of sunshine outside again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 62. Mainly clear skies tomorrow night. Lows level off around 45. Low 70s Monday, upper 70s Tuesday. Get weather anytime by calling 824-6101 or online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Right now, 62.
They're back. No, not the kids in school, but some great flavors of farmer-owned Prairie Farms dairy milks. Enjoy salted caramel milk with 7 grams of protein, or chocolate and peanut butter milk with 9 grams of protein. Both come in handy 16-ounce, easy-to-carry sizes. Well, when the kids come home, give them these great flavored milks from your farmer-owned dairy. Prairie Farms Dairy. They're in your grocery or convenience store dairy case.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
Townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. President Biden cheering the release of an American mother and a daughter that had been held captive by Hamas. Here's BBC correspondent Tom Bateman.
Well, there's a very positive reaction, obviously, because it offers, I think, what the Red Cross have called a sliver of hope that some more of the more than 200 confirmed hostages could be at some point released. It shows that there is dialogue. It shows that there is a process in place. And that's why President Biden overnight was saying he was overjoyed at the news. His Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, had been traveling Arab capitals. He'd been to Qatar. And clearly Qatar was a key part of mediating this.
Did American concessions convince Iran it was safe to attack Israel through its proxy Hamas? Iowa GOP Senator Joni Ernst says yes, and the blame falls on President Biden.
The fact that we have sanctions on Iranian oil and he will not enforce or interdict that oil, which goes to line the coffers of the Iranians. And then certainly he allows the Iranians to continue to fund these terrorist organizations.
Also at townhall.com, the White House has submitted to Congress a hefty funding request, including a lot of aid.
President Biden is asking lawmakers to approve more than $105 billion to support Israel and Ukraine. The request also includes money for border security and countering China's influence. Jake Sullivan is the president's national security advisor.
This budget request is critical to advancing America's national security and ensuring the safety of the American people.
However, the chances of progress on Capitol Hill are in doubt because of political resistance as well as Republican infighting that has left the House without a speaker. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And more on these stories at townhall.com.
Take the time to really get to know your body. You find that the root causes of its aches and pains are usually simple. The older we get, the more exercise we undertake, and the more injuries we sustain, the more inflammation our bodies suffer from. It's so simple. And my answer to that pain is Relief Factor, which I discovered years ago and take every single day to great effect. It helps the body to fight off inflammation, and I've never found anything that worked better in my life. I can't recommend it enough. 70% of the more than 500,000 people who have tried Relief Factor end up ordering more. That's because it works for them the way it works for me. Isn't it time for you to get out of pain? Your first step to becoming pain-free should be to order the 3-week quick start for the discounted price of only $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out more about this offer. Feel the difference. relieffactor.com.
A federal judge who previously overturned California's 3-decade-old ban on assault weapons, well, he's done it again.
Ruling Thursday that the state's attempts to prohibit sales of semi-automatic guns violates the constitutional right to bear arms. U.S. District Judge Roger Benitez concedes that powerful weapons like AR-15 rifles are commonly used by criminals, but he said the guns are more importantly also owned by people who obey the law and feel they need the firearms to protect themselves. California Attorney General Rob Bonta said his office has already filed a notice of appeal. John Scott reporting.
An Iowa woman who falsely claimed to have cancer will stay out of prison. A judge gave her probation instead. 20-year-old Madison Russo never did have cancer like she had claimed in postings on TikTok, GoFundMe, and Facebook, but a lot of people did send a lot of money. Breaking news and analysis, townhall.com. A new deal for police in Chicago.
The agreement extends the current contract by 2 years through June 2027 and would double from 2.5% to 5% the annual pay raise officers are scheduled to receive in 2024 and 2025. Cost of living raises would follow in 26 and 27 and likely fall between 3 and 5%. The deal would also allow officers accused of serious misconduct to have their disciplinary cases decided behind closed doors. Rhonda Rockstar reporting.
Voters in Houston will elect a new mayor November 7th. Well, they're going to try. It's going to be a bit crowded. 18 candidates are seeking to replace Mayor Sylvester Turner. He has served 8 years and is prevented from running again by term limits. With such a huge field, officials say it's unlikely that any candidate would get 50% of the vote to avoid a runoff. More on these stories at townhall.com.
That feeling is in the air. It's getting cooler. The leaves are falling. It's fall. And that means bonfires, get-togethers, and farmer-owned Prairie Farms dairy products. Prairie Farms cottage cheese is a great salad or side dish. Dip your favorite vegetable into Prairie Farms' lineup of dips, including French onion and ranch to make the taste pop. And Prairie Farms sour cream goes great on that baked potato you just took off the grill. Enjoy the fall season with these Prairie Farms dairy products in your grocery or convenience store dairy case.
This is Staff Meteorologist Paul Trombley with your regional radio forecast. Lows around 43 tonight under clear skies, northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lots of sunshine outside again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 62. Mainly clear skies tomorrow night. Lows level off around 45. Low 70s Monday, upper 70s Tuesday. Get weather anytime by calling 824-6101 or online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Right now, 62.
And welcome back to the WTIM Pigskin Prairie Farms Pigskin Playoff Preview. Leroy Clamoli here with you. Hope you're doing all right this evening, and excited to be getting you these matchups as they start pouring in. And I posted some of these on our stream already, but if you're not watching, you're listening to us on the radio. Nokomis, number 14, Nokomis 5-4, will face number 3 Greenfield Northwest Co-op, who's 9-0. That will be their matchup next week. And number 4, Belleville will take on number 13, Tuscola. Belleville sitting at 8-1, Tuscola at 5-4. Jacob, some interesting matchups there for 5-4 Nokomis to take on a 9-0 Greenfield team.
Yeah, Greenfield comes in just allowing 84 points on the season. It's definitely a defense that they're going to have to watch out for, as well as scoring 326. If you're wondering, that's a point differential of 242. Woo. So looking down, they are a very good team that Nokomis is going to have to come into and beat. They are going to have to go on the road for that one there. And then go ahead. As we look at Tuscola, I believe you said Belleville is they're going to be their matchup. So another good matchup there for Tuscola.
And the 2A has just been posted. Shelbyville, number 2, Shelbyville, 8-1 will take on Trenton Westland, just as we expected. Shelbyville comes into this game 8-1. Trenton comes into the game 5-4. The number 2 seed versus the number 15 seed. That game will be coming up next week as well. And Pana, who we were talking about, will face Nashville. Again, another one that we expected to see there. Shelbyville taking on Nashville. Pana comes into this game as the number 9 seed. They will take on Nashville, the number 8 seed. So 2 teams that sit 6-3. And we talked a little bit about that matchup and what you may expect from that matchup, Jake.
Well, 6-3 for Nashville is kind of deceptive because they just knocked off 8-0 Shelbyville. This is a very dangerous team that Pana has to travel to in Nashville, coming in at 6-3. They've had some very tough opponents that have given them those 3 losses, but this is a very potent Nashville team. Pana's going to have to pull off a heck of an upset.
And as always, if Shelbyville and Pana want to face each other in the playoffs, they'll have to get actually pretty far. They'll have to get to the semifinals in order to be able to do that, as they are in 2 kinds of separate areas. That game in Pana, by the way, going to be in Nashville. That game will be in Nashville. Shelbyville will host Trenton, so that is the other big story out of there. The winner of that Shelbyville-Trenton game will take on the winner of Lawrenceville versus Vandalia. Lawrenceville comes in the game 7-2. Vandalia comes in the game 6-3. Pana, the winner of Pana-Nashville, will face either number 1 seed Arthur Lovington or number 16 seed Quincy out of Notre Dame, or Notre Dame out of Quincy, excuse me. So that is what those potential matchups will be. Shelbyville has Johnston City, Auburn, Carmi, White Country, and Breeze, Mayor D, all in their bracket as well, as they get ready here in Class 2A in some of these big matchups there in 2A. Again, and we kind of skipped over it, but moving forward, as there's too many people trying to look at the sheet. See, it's not even loading. There's just too many. I got to load up new ones so it doesn't freeze on me. But when you take a look at some of these other brackets there and what they got, there we go. It pulled back up. I know we were talking about Nokomis. Their potential matchup will be against, if they win, they'll face Casey or Toledo. Casey sits at 8-1. Toledo sits at 6-3. That was the other thing that I wanted to tell you was who they could potentially match. But some interesting matchups. I'm getting too excited. Some interesting matchups as we look between those two, between both Pana and Shelbyville in the 2A bracket.
Yeah, and another interesting team to note is Maroa Forsyth in the 2A area. Now, interesting enough for them, they actually are going to have to play in the North bracket with how much 2A teams are below them. So that'll be interesting as that goes on. Now, they're playing up against Palos Heights or Chicago Christian, and they're going to have to drive all the way down to Maroa to face off against them. Maroa has been the top of the AP poll for 2A. They are a very dangerous team, kind of locally in the area. Excited to see what they can do in the top part of the bracket. And if you look at towards Shelbyville, they really, honestly, should be heavily favored in their first matchup there, but then facing off either against Lawrenceville or Vandalia. Both of those teams could give them some fits as they've been pretty solid as this year has gone on.
And all the finals and semifinals this year will be at Illinois State University. That's a little bit of a change from previous years. So we'll be excited to see those matchups and what may potentially be coming from that as well. With playing in a new facility and playing in a potentially new area. But we are through Class 1A and we're through Class 2A. We're trying to get Class 3A up right now. And again, everybody getting on this bracket right now. So slowly loading. We're keep on refreshing to try to get this up. By the way, end of the first period, 1-1, all tied up. In our Blackhawks Las Vegas Knights. Blackhawks had their season home opener, and that's where Jacob and I would both rather be. No, I'm just kidding. We enjoy talking to you. Can you hear the sarcasm in our voices? No, we're just kidding. We enjoy this. This is our podcast talk show type deal. And who knows? Maybe we'll do our own spin-off show from this. We'll get our own Central Illinois talk show and talk about.
That'd be fun. Just every single week, come in here on a Saturday and just talk about every single thing that's going on. Talk about Central A&M and Taylorville. But this has got to be exciting for you because just in a few moments, Taylorville will have their matchup release, and then you're going to get to talk to Coach Odom.
I'm really, really excited as we have tons of great stuff coming up here in just a little bit. We are waiting for Class 3A and 4A to get posted. 3A will be posted any moment now. And then 4A will be about 8-16, 8-17. So we'll have 4A for you, and they'll be able to find out who Taylor will be facing. And don't forget to join us about half an hour from now. We'll be talking to Coach Jeb Odom, talk to him about his matchup, what he's excited about, and what this season and just some of the struggles that they've overcome and all of the great stuff that they've done this season as well. But we're excited to be having all of this here for you in just a little bit. But some interesting matchups there in Class 1A and Class 2A.
Also, like to give a shout out. The IHSA website is absolutely struggling right now with everybody trying to get on. I believe it actually might be down at the moment. So we're
not the only ones that are trying to get you all up-to-date information. Everybody's trying to get up-to-date information. Everybody wants to know what's going on. So we keep trying to get that information for you here. And you know what? Maybe we'll just take a little break. Maybe we'll try to get a little break here and see if we can't get this stuff to pop up for you. You're not missing anything. I promise you. You're not missing a thing. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have Class 3A matchups, Class 4A matchups, and much more for you right here on WTIM, your information station, and the WTIM Prairie Farms Pigskin Playoff Preview.
The fall season is a great time to enjoy farmer-owned Prairie Farms dairy products. Throw some baked potatoes on the grill and bring out the taste with Prairie Farms sour cream. Cut up your favorite vegetables and dip them in Prairie Farms French onion or ranch dip and make those veggie flavors come out even more. And Prairie Farms small curd, large curd, low-fat, and fat-free cottage cheese provides great nutrition as a side dish or salad. Enjoy fall with these farmer-owned Prairie Farms dairy products in your grocer or C-store dairy case.
This is Will Perkins with Taylorville Community Credit Union. Are you looking for a great CD rate? If you are, TCCU has a new CD special that is just what you are looking for. We are currently offering a 7-month share certificate with an annual percentage yield of 5.05% and a minimum deposit of $1,000. This great rate is for a limited time. For more information, please contact us at any of our convenient locations or online at tccu.org. Dividends will be compounded monthly. A penalty for early withdrawal may be imposed. Fees could reduce earnings on the account. Member NCUA.
This is Bill Pinkston, General Sales Manager at Landmark of Taylorville. The new 24 Chevy, Buick, and GMC models are arriving daily, including the 2 hottest vehicles in GM lineup, the all-new Chevy Trax and Buick Avista. Stop in and reserve yours today. Looking for a pre-owned vehicle? We have over 400 used cars, trucks, and SUVs in our family dealerships. Make sure the next vehicle comes from Landmark of Taylorville, home of the Landmark for a lifetime warranty. Shop us day or night on landmarkoftaylorville.com, and remember,
You always do better at Landmark.
I'm Police Chief Andrew Pistorius with the Sullivan Police Department, here to talk about a topic no one wants to discuss, depression that many times leads to suicide. When a person is going through such feelings, many times family and friends don't know how to help, but there is help. If you feel depressed or lonely, there are many resources to help you. Call a trusted relative, friend, or minister, or call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline toll-free at 800-273-TALK. That's 800-273-TALK. All of us are here to help.
Hi, this is Andrea Bach from the Christian County YMCA, where it's all about youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. Find out about our great programs and activities at your local YMCA by clicking our icon on the obituary page of TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Fall means attending your favorite festivals and bonfires. Taylorville Care Center can help get you back to doing what you want, like attending a local fall festival. Find out more by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
This is Staff Meteorologist Paul Trombley with your regional radio forecast. Lows around 43 tonight under clear skies, northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lots of sunshine outside again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 62. Mainly clear skies tomorrow night. Lows level off around 45. Low 70s Monday, upper 70s Tuesday. Get weather anytime by calling 824-6101 or online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Right now, 62.
WTIM, your information station, the Prairie Farms Pigskin Playoff Preview. 3A is out. There's not too many area schools from 3A in our bracket. I will point out Monticello. They will face number 1 DeCoin. Monticello 5-4. DeCoin is 9-0. That'll be in DeCoin High School next week. Tolano and Williamsville will face the winner of that game. So Tolano Unity, another big school, 7-2, takes on 7-2 Williamsville. Sullivan will take on Clinton. Sullivan 8-1. They're the number 5 seed. They will take on Clinton, who's the number 12 seed. Good matchup there. Sullivan 8-1. Clinton at 6-3. Another big matchup there. We talked a little bit about Greenville. Greenville 9-0 against Fairfield. Fairfield 5-4. And then Carlinville, number 11 seed, 6-3, will take on St. Joseph out of Ogden, who is 7-2. Any surprises there that you see from Class 3A, Jacob?
I think a lot of it was what we projected. Excited to see some of those matchups there. 3A is always pretty fun with a lot of Chicago teams.
Teams,
yeah. Well as some Southern teams. So excited to see some of the travel that has the impact on that. But yeah, some awesome 3A matchups.
All right, so we've got 1A, 2A, 3A. We are waiting for 4A to come up, and apparently everybody and their mother wants to watch 4A because it is just not loading at all. Wait. Maybe. I'm just kidding. Service is unavailable, but again, everybody, we were talking during the break about traffic for the IHSA website, and it's probably 10, 15, 20, 5 million 10, 15, 20. It's just
busiest day of the year for that.
Busiest day of the year other than basketball, I would imagine. Another big day for those guys. But if you're just joining us, we are going through our matchups for the football playoffs. 256 schools will make the playoffs. Taylorville, one of them. Shelbyville, one of them. And excited to have Pana as one of them as well. Shelbyville will face Trenton Westland. Pana will face Nashville in those matchups. Nokomis will face Greenfield Northwest Co-op. We're waiting for the 4A bracket to load. I'm feverishly refreshing while I
as we mentioned, you are waiting for Rochester to be announced because
correct,
kind of the closer matchup
I
as well.
am rooting. There we go. Class 4A. Here we go. I'm looking at it right now and strolling down as we go through this and take a look. Rochester will face Lincoln. Rochester 9-0. They will face Lincoln, who is 5-4. Lincoln makes the first time that they made the playoffs since I was pretty little, guys. Lincoln 5-4. They will squeak into the playoffs and get rewarded with a trip to Rochester. Taylorville will make the long journey down to Carbondale area to take on Murfreesboro, who is the number 2 seed. Murfreesboro 8-1. Taylorville will come to that game 5-4. That game will be in Murfreesboro. The winner of the Taylorville-Murfreesboro game will actually play potentially a familiar foe. The winner of Charleston-Freeburg will face Murfreesboro. Taylorville. Charleston shutting down Taylorville a couple weeks ago in their matchup. So that potentially could be another Apollo Conference matchup. Effingham will take on Mount Zion in a huge Apollo Conference matchup in the playoffs. The game in Mount Zion. Effingham beat Mount Zion earlier this year and would love nothing more than to do it again. Mount Zion trying to right the ship as they sit 7-2. One of those 2 losses coming to Effingham. So those are the big matchups that we're seeing there in Class 4A. Those are the big matchups that we are watching in Class 4A as Taylorville will look to defeat Murfreesboro. Jacob, your thoughts on these matchups?
Yeah, really interesting that the Tornadoes draw Murfreesboro. As we mentioned, DeCoin earlier, that's the team that Murfreesboro lost to. So Murfreesboro loses last night. They were previously undefeated. They lose 39-7. So it's going to be an interesting matchup for the Tornadoes, but the Murfreesboro defense has been simply fantastic, only allowing multiple scores in 3 of their games. Every other game was either a shutout or a under double digits. So really interesting to see how Taylorville will match up. It's going to be a tough matchup for the Tornadoes, as well as travel implications, as well as it's about a 2.5-hour drive down to the Murfreesboro area.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Thank you. But no, we are excited for playoffs. And don't forget, we'll be talking to Coach Jeb Odom here in about 20 minutes or so. 20 minutes or so. We'll be talking to Coach Jeb Odom. They've just found out who they're playing, and they're embracing this matchup. They're looking forward to it. And again, a big trip to the 2023 postseason. Not something you get to do every year, so you're going to embrace it when you get the chance to do it, and Taylorville is doing just that. And it really, the Apollo Conference doing very, very well, as they had Mount Zion, Effingham, Charleston, Taylorville, and of course, Mahomet. We'll take a look at Mahomet here in just a little bit. They are a 5A team. We'll be taking a look at at them and see who they could potentially be facing here, as well as we're excited to be bringing you that matchup, as well as
also want to give a shout out to everybody at the Taylorville football party. Just saw a photo come in that was retweeted by IHSA on their Twitter page, and looks like a pretty fun party to be at if you're not in a studio.
Let's go! Yeah, we're excited though. It's I know they were making a big deal out of it. We always look forward to talking to Coach Odom about some of the stuff that he's got going on, and see what they have in store as far as always a good party to have. So we'll be excited to talk to them here in a little bit, see what they got going on. But so far in these playoffs, no real big surprises, Jake.
Yeah, a lot of what we expected as we look for more results. I will say 5A, 6A, 7A, 8A, not huge for us down here in Central Illinois. Most of our teams have already been announced. There are some opponents that we are waiting to see in 5A. I know you just mentioned that.
Muhammad, yeah.
So some Apollo Conference people waiting to be announced. But other than that, most of our teams have been announced of who they're going to play, and excited for these first matchups of the year.
That's right. And like I said, about 15 minutes or so, we'll be talking to Coach Jeb Odom and see what he has to say about this potential matchup that they will have with Murfreesboro and what they're looking forward to and what potentially they could see here as well as far as that goes. But Taylorville potentially making one of the longest drives in the area. I know there's some other, I was looking at the map here to see some of these other drives that they're having. Charleston's got to go a long way down to take on in that Charleston game. They're gonna have to go a long way as they have to head down, or Freeburg has to head a long way because Freeburg is down there in that area as well. Freeburg's down near St. Louis. They're gonna have to drive all the way over to, and you know how far. I mean, Charleston's a drive for us, right here in Taylorville. So that's gonna be a good drive for them. But yeah, Taylorville gonna have to head all the way down, and they're gonna have to head down to all the way down to the border of Kentucky and Missouri. You know, it's just that's a long way.
How about a Monroe or a Chicago team having to travel all the way to Monroe to play that game? That's
that. That is a long way, my friend. But yeah,
see if I can pull up Google Maps here and see what we get for distance.
It is quite a little bit of a drive. I'm waiting for this final 5A bracket to pop up here as we finish looking at 4A. But a lot of excitement here as the Vegas Knights scored a goal and the Blackhawks answered right back. So it's 2-2 in the Chicago Blackhawks Las Vegas Knights game. I'm sure you're really concerned about that. We're bringing you all. I told you all night. We're bringing you all the updates all night long. It's whether it's 4A or the National Hockey League. We bring
Illinois high school football, NHL hockey, same thing.
We bring you the scores you care about. That's right. No, I don't know what the Blues score is. Stop asking me. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, excited to have these matchups here this evening. And again, some really, really interesting matchups. I'm excited for that Mount Zion Effingham game. I really am. Two schools that know each other extremely well. And should be a very, very good matchup between those two.
Effingham kind of getting the surprise win in the first matchup there. You think Effingham's kind of had a down year, but got the big win over Mount Zion, and now they will get to rematch in Mount Zion. It'll be interesting to see how that matchup goes over the second time around.
So, yeah, and I'm having all kinds of fun with the StreamYard. I'm pulling up scores and putting them up on the screen, and it's a lot of fun, man. I'm enjoying this. But yes, Taylorville taking on Murfreesboro. Taylorville coming into the game 5-4. Murfreesboro coming in 8-1. Murfreesboro was 8-0. They did suffer a loss, and we'll talk to Coach Odom in a little bit about that and whether or not momentum from that is something that he takes seriously. And we're excited. Should be some good stuff here in just a little bit. We're gonna try one more time to see if we can't get 5A.
Don't believe they've been posted yet.
Maybe they're a little bit behind.
I believe they are because 4A was about 4 minutes behind.
All right, so yeah.
So we're looking at more and more behind as it goes on. Yeah, still not posted. So
that's a shame.
It is. It really is a shame. What will we ever do?
We've got about 3 minutes to kill here as far as time. We got to kill longer than that. We can't really take this break until after the 30-minute mark. But we're going to talk a little bit more here about some of these matchups that we have here in just a little bit. Yes, South Fork. We can talk about South Fork. You want to pull up some 8-man football, Jacob, and see if you can't get some 8-man. I know South Fork has some great 8-man football. Pawnee, I know they play 8-man as well, if my recollection is correct. But thanks, Tim Watson, for mentioning that. Again, we'll take a look at the 8-man league. And excited again. Have you ever watched 8-man football?
I have not. So it's not a big thing up north. So I didn't know what it was. Obviously, 7-on-7s is something you do in the off season,
right?
But I've never seen 8-man football. I'm kind of intrigued by it.
It is something to watch. If you get a chance, you should really jump on that. It's really. Oh my goodness, it's not letting me pull that up. Let me try something else here.
Let me see if I can get a projection because I don't believe the IHSA going over it tonight. Currently, so South Fork is currently projected to play Ridgewood, another team that comes in at 7-2. South Fork impressively also comes in at 7-2. Pawnee gonna have to make a trip to Martinsville, not the Speedway. Pawnee finishes the season 5. Could you imagine a
I know.
football game at Martinsville Speedway?
Well, and Kincaid comes into the season 6-2. Last year they finished 5-4. The Ponies picking up wins over Edwardsville, Danville, a loss to Champaign, a win over St. Anne. I'm going to pronounce it wrong, and my apologies, but Scioto, and then a win over Scioto, a win against Kirkland. They picked up that loss to Martinsville, and then picking up a win over Pawnee, 34-6. They will face Decatur tonight. Actually, tonight they're facing Decatur Unity Christian. Decatur Unity Christian. That game will be that game took place at 1:00 today. So that game took place at 1. South Fork.
See if I can get a score on
did
that.
again on that one, but they're looking to make some noise in those playoffs as well. And excited.
So
excited.
South Fork 40, Unity Christian 14.
Yeah,
was the
so
final score.
They
there.
improved to 7-2, so 2 wins more for Coach Zach Hanlon and the Kincaid South Fork Ponies, who are doing some damage in 8-0, and they are in second place right now. But again, Martinsville in first. So while we're excited to see what
Martinsville though did lose today
Oh!
earlier on.
So both schools tied for first. Martinsville did pick up the win over Kincaid, so I believe Martinsville will hold the tiebreaker. That game, 42-38.
Wow.
That game was very, very close between Martinsville and Kincaid. So appreciate Tim Watson for letting us know about the South Fork and the class and the 8-man, and they are doing some fantastic work over there, and we appreciate all the work that they're doing. And what a great football team. And Jacob, I'm telling you, if you get a chance, you go over on a Saturday afternoon and go watch 8-man football. It is something to watch.
So what is the makeup of the 8 men? Who are the 8 men? Because normally it's 7.
Right. So it's a lot of play action, a lot of pitching, and it's a lot of just fast movement.
Is there a full offensive line then, or is it?
I think it's smaller, if I remember right. And my apologies, I can picture it in my head, but I don't want to give the wrong information on there. So let's see. You should pull up a YouTube video quietly and take a look at it.
Look at the Wikipedia.
Look at the Wikipedia page. There you go. All right, 5A brackets are out. Let's get you some rundown here of teams that you care about, or maybe you don't care about. Carbondale 7-2. They take on Country Club Hills. Carbondale just south of us, just a little bit here. That game will be in Carbondale. They sit at the number 7 seed. Number 4, Mahomet Seymour 7-2. They will take on number 13 Troy Triad. Triad coming into the game 6-3. Mahomet coming into the game 7-2. Number 4 team versus number 13 team. They will take on, or the winner of that game will take on the winner of Peoria versus Joliet Catholic Academy. So
back
Peoria.
in my neck of the woods.
Yeah. So Mahomet looking to do some damage this year in the playoffs. They're going to get a tough test right off the bat with Troy before facing potentially either Peoria or Joliet. Morton, New Lenox, Carbondale, Country Club Hills, Highland, Mount Vernon, Metamora, and Decatur MacArthur all in that bracket. All right. It is 8:33. Going to hang out here for just a few more moments before I can potentially take this break. But when we come, go ahead.
I was going to say, by the way, I've looked into it. 8-man football sounds awesome.
It is.
So it's a shoot.
Is.
Every game is pretty much a shootout.
Yeah.
Scores typically fall in the 40 to 60 range. They get rid of the tackles.
Right.
And then one less skill player.
Yep.
Sounds like a bunch of fun.
I'm telling you, if you get a chance, so South Dakota has some great 8-man football. They televise all their games on YouTube.
Okay.
So South Dakota football, they do it indoors because it's South Dakota and it's cold all the time. Yes, I'm stereotyping. What? But no, it's one of those things where when you watch it indoors, it's amazing. It really is. Take a chance. And you listening at home, if you have not checked out 8-man football, you need to. That is fantastic stuff. They do great things down there as far as that's concerned. So you don't want to check that out. All right. I know you've all been waiting for this, and we're not going to disappoint you. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll call Jeb Odom. We'll talk to Jeb about his game against, I keep saying Murphyville, but it's Murfreesboro.
Everything's Ville down here.
Murphyville. But Murfreesboro, it's spelled differently than the Murfreesboro I know, because the Murfreesboro, Tennessee that I'm familiar with is spelled very different. This is literally Murphy. So we'll have all that for you. We'll talk to Coach Jeb Odom about what he's excited about. We'll talk to him about his big win over Civic Memorial, and we'll hang out with him a little bit and see what he's got going on this evening. All right, and we'll try to see if he can't bring us some chips, dip, and some drinks, since they're having a big party here tonight as well. Jacob Thumb alongside Leroy Clemola will be back in just a little bit. We'll give Coach Jim Odom a call and see what he's excited about when it comes to potential playoffs. You're listening to WTIM and the Prairie Farms Pigskin Playoff Preview.
That feeling is in the air. It's getting cooler. The leaves are falling. It's fall. And that means bonfires, get-togethers, and farmer-owned Prairie Farms dairy products. Prairie Farms cottage cheese is a great salad or side dish. Dip your favorite vegetable into Prairie Farms lineup of dips, including French onion and ranch to make that taste pop. And Prairie Farms sour cream goes great on that baked potato you just took off the grill. Enjoy the fall season with these Prairie Farms dairy products in your grocery or convenience store dairy case.
Here's another lifestyle medicine message from Dr. Pavi Gill at Springfield Clinic, Taylorville.
We understand everyone's journey is different. That's why we approach bariatric weight loss with comprehensive and compassionate care. We offer surgical and non-surgical solutions, and we are here to help you find the right option.
Book your lifestyle medicine appointment with Dr. Gill by calling Springfield Clinic Taylorville and improve your quality of life. The cold winds of winter will be here before we know it. With it comes wind chills, snow, and weather-related injuries. Now's the time to check out the fun and socialization you can have at Taylorville Estates Assisted Living. Have your own private apartment and enjoy 3 home-cooked meals a day. Try them for the winter, and if you don't like it, go home. Visit Administrator Tony Clark at 824-2222. That's 824-2222. Taylorville Estates Assisted Living, encouraging independence, enriching lives.
Hi everyone, Brandon Bible here, your local country financial representative at 1305 West Presser in Taylorville. Myself, along with my wife Samantha and our assistant Nicole Patrick, are proud to recognize the Tornado student athletes that represent our community by being the exclusive sponsor of WTIM Brandon Bible Country Financial Player of the Game during Tornado sports broadcast this school year. WTIM announcers will select a player at the end of each game who will receive a certificate for being named our Player of the Game. Good luck to all teams this season, and go Tornadoes!
CNB Bank and Trust has been helping open doors for Central Illinois farmers since 1854. Find out why they're among Illinois' top ag lenders by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Bob Reddings of the Bob Reddings family of dealerships. See our huge inventory of about 2,000 vehicles by clicking on our ad at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Paul Trombley with your regional radio forecast. 42 tonight under clear skies, winds out of the north, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Bright sunshine expected again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 62. Lows level off around 45 tomorrow night, mainly clear skies. Low 70s Monday, upper 70s Tuesday. Get weather anytime by calling 824-6101 or online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Right now, 61.
WTIM, Leroy Clemola here alongside Jacob Thome for our Prairie Farms Pigskin Playoff Preview. And we're going to have Coach Jeb Odom joining us here in just a little bit. Taylorville, Tornado football, picking up their first Apollo Conference win since I got here in 2019. We're excited to see them in the playoffs this year. Of course, they get rewarded for their trip to the playoffs with a trip 2.5 hours south, and it is a trip
vacation
down to the. I'm going to see if Randy will let us stay the night down there, man. Just get us a hotel and everything. As they look to take on Murfreesboro. I had to look to see where Murfreesboro was located. No, it's not in Tennessee. It's not even spelled the same, but it is
spelled correctly. By the way, I looked up Murfreesboro, Tennessee. There are
that is
many vowels.
That is the right spelling of Murfreesboro.
No,
Listen,
it isn't.
It is. That city came first. So, but that is all the way down in Jackson County. It's down near Mount Carbon and near Harrison and What
Creepy
other
logo, by the way. If you look
for
at
the
the Max
Murfreesboro?
Preps, they are the Red Devils, and it's quite freaky when you look at it. It's kind of creepy. Not sure when that game's going to be played, but would be very fitting for Halloween, as Halloween's 10 days away, so that wouldn't make any sense at all.
And so let's check out Murfreesboro really quick and take a look at their Murfreesboro schedule and some of the teams that they faced. And do we have any similar opponents? We do not. They beat Carbondale 49-7. Anna, Jonesboro, Angola. Never even heard of these schools. 28-7. Benton win 35-9. Massac County. I've heard of Massac County. They won 49-0 in Metropolis. Heron, they won 49-14. Madison, 63-0. Harrisburg, 40-0. Then a win against Carterville, 43-26 before. You know what it is? It's the Arizona Red Devil logo. That's what it is. It looks exactly like the Arizona Red Devil logo. DuQuoin beating Murfreesboro 39-7, which only makes me assume that DuQuoin could beat any of the teams that Murfreesboro faced by like 80.
Yeah. By the way, going back to Massac County, located in Metropolis, which is where Superman and all that has come from. So they beat Superman 49-0. So that's not great news for Taylor.
They have a Superman statue in Metropolis. If you haven't been there before, it's pretty great. But yeah, so we've got all of that. Taylorville, of course, when we look at Taylorville's schedule, as we talked a little bit about it earlier, their big wins that they had, and I need to come off this screen. I've got way too many screens open now because I was all excited and pulling up all kinds of stuff here. And,
you keep opening them and then you don't close them.
And so now like I'm absolutely like just all over the place here.
To the point where you can only see the logos and
Taylorville 5-4, 1-4 in the conference. They picked up wins over Richland County, Robinson, Columbia before picking up a loss to Mount Zion, Muhammad Seymour, then Effingham. Picking up a win against Mattoon, lost to Charleston 55-7. They beat Memorial 35-9, and now they look to take on Murfreesboro as well. And not too many similar opponents. I feel like if I kept going through Murfreesboro opponents, some way, shape, or form, I'd find some kind of connection. That's my goal this week. I'm going to do it, Jake. I'm going to find some connection between Murfreesboro and Taylorville. I'm not sure what it is.
I think Robbinsville would probably be your best. Robinson, yes.
Yeah.
Probably be your best start.
So
going south.
That's the goal that we're working on this week. We're going to find some connection here, and who knows? Maybe Coach Jeb Odom will have the connection. I won't even have to worry about it. But speaking of Coach Jeb Odom, let's give our man a call and see how he's doing. See if we can't get some information from Coach Jeb Odom, what he's expecting for the playoffs.
Yeah, always fun to talk to Coach here as Leroy gets the numbers dialed in. Really excited to talk to Coach here as the announced. Repeated a lot of things there.
Hey, Coach Odom, this is Leroy.
How are you, sir?
Good. Hey, it's the Pigskin Playoff Preview. Glad to have you with us. Hey, congratulations. Big win against Civic Memorial last night. They had to have felt really, really good for your guys' team.
Yeah, it's been a pretty emotional last couple of days for our football program and to go out there and play well and to get a victory. And kind of knew after the game last night that we had a good chance of getting in. So it was a fun environment in the locker room. The kids rallied around each other, and here we are at our playoff party. And lots of smiles and lots of positive energy, and hope to keep that going all week.
I know Judd Bates has gone through quite a lot this week, which means that, like you said, your football team has gone through quite a lot. Without getting too deep into it, how do you as a coach get your guys prepped to play for a football game dealing with stuff like that?
You know, I've been blessed in my career to not have to deal with a situation that came up Thursday night. And you know, it was, as Coach Ventura went up to the hospital, we said, hey, we're kind of writing the playbook as we go along here, trying to figure out how to make sure Judd's at ease and his family's taken care of, and then obviously get ready for a football game. So, you know, we just took it one step at a time, and the kids were really patient with us and really rallied around Judd. And I think some of the off-season, off-the-field type of relationships are already in place. We kind of relied on those as well. And a lot of really close friends for Judd, and then they kind of picked him up along the way.
The Brandon Bible Country Financial Player of the Game yesterday went to the entire offensive line. They really allowed Baron Odom and the rest of your guys to really be able to control the run game, which is something that I know you take personally as far as making sure that you guys have a run game. How important was the offensive line for you guys last night?
Well, I mean, they're a key piece of every team that wants to win football games. You got to be strong on both sides of the line. And last night, we thought we matched up pretty well versus the Thalto, and we kind of kept it simple. We were in power and counter, and just changed up some looks in the backfield, but everything we did was going downhill with a very quick mesh, and our guys were able to take care of business up front. I think it was a well-deserved honor for those guys to get that award.
As I was leaving the press box last night, I had about two Civic Memorial, two Bethalto guys came up to me and said, boy, you've got something special with Clark Rare. Talk about Clark Rare and what he brings to your guys' program.
Well, if you know Clark, you know he's not the biggest guy that we have in our program, but in terms of heart and energy, there's nobody that overcomes that with him. He plays the game like his hair's on fire every single snap. Doesn't matter if it's special teams, doesn't matter if it's on defense. He's making the most out of what God gifted him with. And it's fun to watch. It's fun to be around. Great kid in the weight room. He loves the game of football. He loves the grind. One of those old school throwback type of kids that every coach dreams of coaching every year.
I was joking that he was trying to do his best Wallace Reed impression last night as Wallace Reed kicked that massive field goal. He missed it only by a little bit, Coach.
Yeah, that's an individual that we didn't think he never kicked for us until 2 years ago when we knew we were trying to figure out who our kicker was, and he just kind of took the bull by the horns. And he has really worked himself almost every day after practice to get reps and kick for us. And we were really hoping to get that 35-yarder just to validate all the hard work he's put in for us.
Talk a little bit about this season. You guys picking up a big Apollo Conference win against Mattoon. Overall, you're making the playoffs, and you're going to we'll talk a little bit about that playoff matchup here in just a few moments. But what was I'm putting you on the spot here, but what was your favorite part of this whole season?
You know what? Olney is a game that sticks out for us. That was a team that's got a Division I lineman, and their big lineman they've got. They had some pieces that we thought were really good on film, and new coaching change and new energy, and we thought that to go down there and get a victory, especially with the heat and all the circumstances we had to deal with. That first drive against Olney kind of set the tone for us, able to go down there, had a trick play that got called back or we dropped it or something like that. But then to run power and counter and score, that's the drive that I'll remember for a long time.
Very, very cool. And it was so exciting to be able to watch you guys all season long grow and mature. Definitely a different team now than what you guys started at the beginning of the season. I know you guys have a tough matchup here going down to a potential school that we've never played before in Murfreesboro. Talk a little bit about you guys finding out about making the playoffs and a little bit about that potential matchup.
Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. We're at our playoff party at the Moose, and it was a bit of a scramble. The TV we had set up didn't work, so we had to scramble another part of the building, and got there right in the nick of time to see our name get popped up with Murfreesboro, and big loud cheer from our fans and our parents and players. So that was fun. Clark Rare was having the biggest one, so of course. So that was pretty cool. And then I know Murfreesboro a couple years ago they were in a state championship game. Ultra athletic, run a very exotic yet powerful offense. Pretty simple, but they do a lot of weird motions that you got to account for. Aggressive on defense, run an odd front with an overhang that's going to be blitzing off the edge all the time. So it's something we have to account for. And they're going to be well coached. Coach Gary Carter's been around for a long time. I believe he's probably in his 20s as far as coaching years and head coaching experience. So really good combination of coaching and talent down there, which is why they are 8-1. And in the last couple of years they're in the state championship game. So definitely have our work cut out for us.
Murfreesboro coming off that big loss this week. You guys have a win coming off Civic Memorial. Momentum, is that something you guys take seriously going forward?
A little bit. I mean, it's going to come down to watching film and making sure we get our guys in the right place at the right time. Make sure we have a good trip, a good week of practice, and then we got some rain coming in, so I have to deal with the elements a little bit. But, it's the playoffs. Everyone's going to have that same sense of urgency. Every coaching staff is going to say, hey, it's 1 week at a time. That's kind of the old coaching cliches that get thrown out there. So but it's good to be a part of that cliche right now. It's good to be, talking to Coach Carter and trying to exchange film and setting up practice plans for the week and working through all those logistics. One more week, hopefully multiple weeks after this. So just proud to be a part of it. Proud to be, at the head of the program with so many great people, coaches, players, parents. Definitely a blessed person right now.
Talk a little bit about your seniors. I know you talked to Tim a little bit earlier, but for our listeners tonight, what have the seniors meant to you over these last 4 years, and what message do you have for them?
Well, typically when you got a senior class, those are the kids that have bought into the weight room, bought into the grind of 4 years of off season. We talk about how special football is. You only get 9 games guaranteed in your senior year. So to start out as a freshman and to play your 9 games as a freshman and play your 9 games as a sophomore, to make it to your 9th game as a senior is a very special moment. We're proud of those guys. I remember last night, Grady Haynock caught a touchdown for us, a young man that played tight end for us last year, and we asked him to move down to play tackle for us. And I said, well, if I can find a way to get you a touchdown, I'll try to get you a touchdown. To kind of reward him for that sacrifice kind of means a lot to him, means a lot to me, means a lot to the process that seniors go through to win football games and to get to the playoffs. I don't know if we make the playoffs if he's not our starting left tackle.
So with that, obviously, you get a lot of support from underclassmen. I know Gabriel Machad was a big help for you guys last night. He's been a huge piece, especially defensively. Him and Baron Odom seem to be huge defensively. But talk about your underclassmen and who are some guys that you are looking forward to maybe standing out next year?
I mean, Gabe Machad's right there. I mean, fun fact that I was playing scout team quarterback early in the year, and he hit me so hard I had to go to the doctor for a bulging disc. So that's always a fun memory for me. Gabe hitting me in practice, but those guys you're going to be counting on. We kind of knew we didn't have a lot of seniors this year, so our juniors got to play a lot, and then fill in the places where we needed extra work on special teams. And Gabe's a young man that was at Normal Community last year, and we moved back to town. We were excited about that, and then he plays the game with he's a little bit savvier than what I think he gives himself credit for. He's got really good instincts. Coach Material likes to call him, he's got thick bones, where he doesn't look very big, but when he hits you, he brings some momentum with him, and I can attest to that for sure. Barron played well in the secondary. We got a lot of juniors that are playing well. Our underclass program right now, we kind of separated the teams, and they kind of do their own thing at practice, and they're 8-1. With a chance to go 9-1 versus Bethalto. So got a lot of positive energy with that group, lots of kids in that group, and we're pretty excited about what they can do in the future.
And the future for Taylorville football really seems bright right now. A lot of that coming from your coaching staff. How important has that been for you guys?
I mean, those guys, we put in so much work behind the scenes. It's the stuff that people don't see. They see us on the field, they see us at practice, but the amount of video time that we put in, the amount of time that we deal with, situations that come up in the hallways, and text messages throughout the weekend, just on bouncing ideas off each other. It's truly special to be surrounded by guys that are so rigorous and want to win as much as the players do. And another thing that really helps with us is we have a lot of staff loyalty in terms of a lot of our guys on staff played at Taylorville or have been coaching here for many years. We had very, very little coaching turnover in my tenure, which has been kind of a hallmark for us. I know it was kind of thing that Coach Albertson, really enjoyed having for many years. There's a lot of coaches on staff that stayed with him and stayed loyal. And, Coach Mature and I have been together over 20 years now. And Coach Bloomquist has been there since the beginning. And Coach McCavish is back for a second stint. Coach McNeely's come back. So, all those guys that have been with us throughout the years are back, and they're enjoying it. They're loyal, and they bleed purple and gold just as much as everybody else does.
I won't take up too much more of your time, Coach, but what message do you have for the community for maybe this year and for the sport?
It's kind of we don't want to see the season end in the near future for sure. But when you look at the stands in Bethalto, and they're packed. It's an hour and 15-minute trip down, and they're packed. You go down to Albany, stands are packed. Our home stands have been awesome. So I can't. We sometimes football catches a lot of grief for being a sport and all that kind of stuff, and kind of being the face sometimes of sports in Taylorville, and I get that. But to see the community always have our backs through thick and thin is very special. It's something I'll never forget. Just turn around and have my wife in the stands and my daughter dancing and my son on the sideline with me. So just special memories, and a lot of that comes back to the community pride that we have. We're a 4A rural community. We have the resources that we have, and I'd like to think our football program stretches those resources out as far as we possibly can.
Well, Coach, appreciate all your support this year, and thank you for allowing us to be able to call your games this year, and look forward to driving down to Murfreesboro and picking up a win. So good luck this weekend, Coach.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate all you guys have done for me and for the staff and for the program throughout the years, and this year especially, and we hope to give you guys a good game on Saturday.
Sounds good. Thanks, Coach. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Coach Jeb Odom, go Tornadoes. Excited to see what's going on. And boy, that is a man that bleeds purple and gold.
Yeah, you can tell with all of his response there. always awesome to see, as you mentioned, kind of a smaller 4A community. You normally don't get these as small of a 4A community as Taylorville is. So excited to see, just how they go towards this next matchup.
All right, that's going to do it for us from here. We're going to go one last quick time through our rundowns here of what we got, and then we're going to have to hang out, or we're going to have to hang up on you. Shelbyville will take on Trenton. Tuscola will take on Belleville. Nokomis to face Greenfield Northwest Co-op. Nashville will take on Pana. Murfreesboro taking on Taylorville. Mount Zion taking on Effingham as well. So looking forward to all those games. We'll have all those dates for you and times here on Regional Radio News and WTIM, your information station, as we move forward here. Jacob, your final thoughts.
What a time this was. This was a great 2 hours. Enjoyed spending the night with you. Looking forward to some of these playoff matchups as we go forward. All right, and of course, we'll have all of Taylorville sports right here on WTIM as we when we find out when that time and when that game is going to be for Murfreesboro. But excited to be bringing you all of that action here on WTIM. And again, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. If you missed any of the show, you'll be able to watch it on our Facebook page at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com or on our YouTube channel. You can also go to ihsa.org to find out all of the matchups, not just ours, but everybody's matchups, as well as we'll have all of that for you here moving forward. You've been listening to WTIM, your information station.
WTIM.
This is Jacob Thumb reporting. Christian County Sheriff's Department has some Halloween tips for the month of October.